Well, joining me this week are senior business columnist at The Australian, John Durie, my colleague and co-founder at the online publication Business Spectator, Robert Gottliebsen, and Mike Mangan, a portfolio manager at 2MG Asset Management. Welcome to you all.
Thanks, mate.
Now, Bob, a bit of reality there from Ken.
Yes, there's a few other things I think that the government could do to help small business. For example, they could put the fair contracts prescriptions that are available for consumers into small business. Whether it be governments or whether it be big companies, they're really tough in their dealings with small business. They set the contracts often quite unrealistically harsh, and that needs to be fixed. Tony Abbott is all for making that change. The government should gazump him and do it.
But I have real concerns about this time as we come up to an election and everyone chases a small business vote. To me, the best thing a government can do to small business is just get out of their way. And this government has wanted to do that when Craig Emerson was there, but they've really failed because that means cutting all the red tape, which the government's talked about, but hasn't done. But small business deserves no special breaks from anyone. They're just like everyone else in society. So I get a little bit worried about any sort of special handouts to these people, especially when you're talking about new laws like, special contract laws, when these laws already exist and we've already got the ACCC monitoring this sort of stuff. So why put more red tape on?
First of all, getting rid of red tape's a great idea. There's no problem with that. The trouble with it is that the ACCC really can't handle this problem. It doesn't have the jurisdiction. And we have anti-competitive rules. We have a whole series of rules about the conduct of business. Now, what we don't have is something to protect small businesses where it is really anti-competitive behaviour because the big business is too big.
What this week's discussion was started by was the mining tax, where they're going to use... What they're on about is they're using the proceeds from the mining tax to cut company tax for everyone else, and the Greens wanted to focus it only on small business and not on big business. I mean, where are we at with the mining tax now? I mean, what's everyone saying about that now?
Well, that's up in the air, isn't it? Because we've got the Greens are opposed to it, we've got Tony Abbott's opposed to it, so it looks like that's going nowhere. That's been yet another schmozzle for the government. It's just so at the moment we're debating about dreams rather than reality.
Do they need to get the mining tax up in order to get the budget back into surplus?
Well, they certainly need to get the mining tax to get up to get the tax cuts they're talking about. Absolutely, yeah.
For me, I reckon they need an adding machine because when I talk to the institutions or I talk to BHP or Rio, they say, we're not going to pay all this huge amount of money that the government's suggesting we're going to pay. That's not what the mining tax has been constructed, so there will not be a huge payment in these years, particularly when they're putting so much investment in. So somebody's wrong. Either the government is adding it up incorrectly, or the companies are adding it up incorrectly. And what the government...
I reckon the companies are getting it right somehow.
Of course they are. We know that. The Treasury are never good at these sort of things. And so what we're about to do is to give a whole lot of tax concessions based on a revenue model that the people who are supposed to be paying the tax don't think is right.
Now, there's no surprise that companies don't want to pay company tax. Here's Bernie Brooks of Myer on the same subject.
The more we can reduce both corporate tax and personal tax rate, the greater degree of spending. Not only is it in our interest as a business, but I think it's in the interest from an economic point of view.